Hello, curious minds. Kathleen Folbigg was a seemingly ordinary woman who led a quiet life in New South Wales, Australia. She married her husband, Craig Folbigg, in 1987, and together they started a family. Tragically, the couple experienced an extraordinary string of child deaths. On February 3, 1991, Patrick Allen Folbigg, aged 8 months, was found lifeless in his crib. His death was initially attributed to sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, a common cause of unexplained infant deaths. At the time, there were no indications that his death was anything but a tragic accident. As Kathleen Folbigg and her husband continued to expand their family, suspicions began to grow within their circle of friends and family due to the unusually high number of infant deaths in the Folbigg household. Patrick's death, followed by the deaths of his 3 siblings, became the subject of intense scrutiny. In 2001, following the death of their 4th child, Laura, authorities exhumed the bodies of all 4 deceased Folbigg children, including Patrick. Autopsies revealed abnormalities in their hearts, which could have been a factor in their deaths. However, the accumulation of multiple deaths within the same family raised serious doubts. Kathleen Folbigg's trial began in 2003. Prosecutors argued that the statistical probability of 4 siblings dying from natural causes was exceedingly low, suggesting foul play. The evidence presented, including Folbigg's personal diaries, which contained disturbing entries about her children, played a significant role in her conviction. In November 2003, Kathleen Folbigg was found guilty of the manslaughter of Patrick, as well as the murder of her other 3 children, Caleb, Sarah, and Laura. She was sentenced to 40 years in prison, with a non-parole period of 30 years. Her case remains one of Australia's most notorious examples of filicide. The Folbigg case remains controversial and has been the subject of ongoing appeals. Some argue that medical advances in understanding genetic factors may have influenced the children's deaths. Others question the reliability of Kathleen Folbigg's diary entries as evidence of her guilt. Kathleen Megan Folbigg was born in New South Wales, Australia. She grew up in a relatively normal family and had an uneventful childhood. Folbigg had a troubled relationship with her father, who passed away when she was young, but there were no apparent signs of severe trauma or abuse in her upbringing. In 1987, Kathleen Folbigg married Craig Folbigg, and the couple settled in New South Wales. They started a family together, and their first child, Caleb, was born in 1989. Over the next decade, Kathleen gave birth to 3 more children: Patrick, 1990, Sarah, 1992, and Laura, 1997. Unfortunately, all 4 children would meet tragic fates. Between 1989 and 1999, the Folbigg family experienced a series of shocking and tragic deaths. The deaths of Patrick, Sarah, and Laura were initially attributed to sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, a syndrome characterized by the unexplained death of an otherwise healthy infant under 1 year of age. As the number of infant deaths in the Folbigg household mounted, suspicions began to arise within the family and the medical community. Authorities exhumed the bodies of the deceased children and conducted autopsies, which revealed abnormalities in their hearts. While these findings were concerning, they did not definitively point to foul play. The turning point in the case came when investigators discovered Kathleen Folbigg's personal diaries. In these diaries, she had made disturbing and incriminating entries, including expressions of anger and frustration toward her children. Some interpreted these entries as evidence of her guilt in the deaths. In 2003, Kathleen Folbigg stood trial for the deaths of her 4 children. Prosecutors argued that the statistical improbability of 4 siblings dying of SIDS in the same family, coupled with her diary entries, indicated foul play. In a highly publicized trial, Folbigg was found guilty of the manslaughter of Patrick and the murders of Caleb, Sarah, and Laura. She was sentenced to 40 years in prison with a non-parole period of 30 years. The Folbigg case has been marked by controversy and ongoing appeals. Some experts and advocates argue that advancements in understanding genetic factors may have played a role in the children's deaths. Others question the reliability of Kathleen Folbigg's diary entries as evidence of her guilt. Some intriguing facts about her and her case. Kathleen Folbigg's conviction for the murder of her 4 children is considered unprecedented in Australia. It is extremely rare for a mother to be convicted of murdering multiple children. Initially, the deaths of her children were attributed to sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, a medical condition where infants die suddenly and without explanation. The multiple deaths within one family raised suspicions and led to further investigation. The most damning evidence against Folbigg came from her personal diaries. She had documented her feelings of anger, frustration, and resentment towards her children in these diaries, leading many to believe that she was capable of harming them. The autopsies conducted on the deceased children revealed abnormalities in their hearts. While these findings were cited as suspicious, some experts argue that these abnormalities could have been natural and unrelated to their deaths. Folbigg's case has attracted significant public attention and numerous appeals. Advocates and experts continue to debate the evidence and question her guilt, leading to ongoing legal proceedings. Some experts and advocates have emphasized the potential role of genetic factors in the deaths of Folbigg's children. They argue that certain genetic mutations could have made the children more susceptible to cardiac issues. Kathleen Folbigg was sentenced to 40 years in prison with a non-parole period of 30 years. This non-parole period is one of the longest in Australian legal history. The Folbigg case is complex and polarizing, involving elements of both medical science and criminal law. It highlights the challenges of determining culpability in cases involving multiple infant deaths. The case raises questions about maternal filicide, the act of a mother killing her child. It is a rare and deeply disturbing phenomenon that continues to perplex researchers and law enforcement. Kathleen Folbigg's case continues to captivate the public and experts alike, highlighting the complexities of child deaths and the challenges in distinguishing between natural causes and criminal actions.